Hey, welcome to Breaking Bread, hosted by me, Crunk Chocolate, a show where we break verbal bread with the quote-unquote enemy. Whenever Manchester City has an upcoming match, I will be here having a conversation with a supporter of Manchester City's upcoming opponents. Shout out to all our Patreon members who are enjoying the full episode. $6 a month will get you that. If you're listening to the first few 10, 11 minutes of it on the podcast, on YouTube, check out our Patreon. So many great episodes that just came on. Match previews of wonderful conversations with people who love just football. Argentinian football, you want to hear about? We got that. Bundesliga football, we got that. Some MLS, some NWSL, we have that stuff too, all for $6 a month. It's 20 hours of extra content on top of what we put. But I mean, you're listening, you see the little Patreon teasers when you're watching or listening to all of our content. Today, great. I'm super excited about this because this is a chance for us to, get out of our usual bubble. Honestly, one of my favorite types of birds, swans, elegant, beautiful, majestic, historic club too. It's been a while since they've been in the Premier League, but hey, maybe they upset City, and that is what pushes them forward to next thing you know, a couple years later, we could see them in Premier League as well. I hope not, but to help us learn all about our upcoming opponents, we have Luke of Swanscast. How's it going?
Yeah, going really well. Thank you for having me on. Brilliant introduction. I was well enjoying that. So, I mean, I don't know how much elegance you're expecting when you play us, but I don't know if it's as elegant as the birds are at the moment. But I'm sure we'll get into all of that as we discuss now.
Yes. So before we get into all the things about Swansea City, let's get to know you a little bit better in your fandom. And I always ask this question: what is something that is overrated and underrated about football? We'll start with overrated, and it can be anything. It could be very unserious. It could be very serious. Collars on a kit. There could be like a chant you don't like. You could say not being able to drink beers at your seat. That could be overrated. Just pick anything, anything at all. What do you got for us?
I think for me, and you just mentioned a little bit of the historic bit about Swansea there, but I think for a lot of clubs in a similar position to us, being in the Premier League actually can be a little bit overrated because, you go from a position of a league where perhaps you have a successful season and you're doing quite well. Quite often, more often than not, the teams that are coming up, they're just getting battered every week. And it's not very nice to watch, I think, for your team. It's quite hard to break into that now. And the money that's involved in the Premier League is... there's issues, I think, in the league structure over in the English league system with the way the money filters down, and it's causing some of these problems. And I think as a fan of a team that's perhaps not one of the ones that's already involved there now, we had our time, perhaps fell out just before we should have when it comes to getting involved in what's quite a rich league now.
Yes.
I think for a lot of clubs in the Championship that do go up, if you speak to fans of the ones that have gone up and down a few times over the last few years, they're fed up of just going up and just getting battered, So in a way, no one's ever going to say no to getting there. But I think the reality of what you then watch week in, week out, is not the dream that is sold to be,
Yeah, 1,000%. Shout out to Red Half of Sheffield, Sheffield United podcast. Our good friend, he has said for years, every single time we have him, he's just like, I never want to be in the Premier League again. And he says it with so much conviction, he's not lying. Like, he absolutely hates it because that exact reason. What should be a fun and joyous time, your team is playing football, you should be able to enjoy them, but they're just getting battered week after week after week. I can completely understand. City went 2 months without, they won one game in 14, and I thought I was gonna absolutely lose it. So I could only imagine. like the Derby's record of old. Who was it that almost broke it last season? There was a team that, Southampton almost broke it last season. Like having a season like that, absolutely miserable. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemies. Actually, I would love to see Manchester United do that. That would actually be
well. I mean, they if any other year, like when we were in the Premier League back, what was it, like 8 years ago now, whatever it is. The season that Man United had last year would have put them at risk of relegation.
Mm-hmm.
But this further emphasizes my point of the gulf between them in 17th or whatever they were, one of them was Spurs, in 17th, compared to then the team in the relegation zone. That gap was massive. And like when we went down, we were fighting till basically the last day. We relegated one before the last game by default of who we were playing more than anything, because we just couldn't. I think it was a goal difference thing. I think we couldn't overturn on the last day. But the point is, technically, we still could have. If we went and won 20-0, we could have done it. It wouldn't have happened. But these days, I think this season maybe, hopefully, will be a bit better come the end. But like last season, the one before, they're just gone like weeks before the end, and that's just not fun, is it? So, yeah.
No. I guess this is a. Well, what we're seeing in the Premier League this season, which is really exciting. I mean, Leeds and Burnley, they've come back down to earth. They're in 16th and 17th. But Sunderland, they're a top 7 side, and I don't expect them to stay in that area this whole season. They are playing fun and open football. The last 3 seasons, whoever got promoted got relegated. It does feel like this could be a change, and I'm hoping that is what it's going to be, because it isn't fun seeing it's whoever comes right up, go right back down. But there's a vote happening soon, actually, about the anchoring spending limit. I don't know if you see much about that. It's basically teams can't spend more than 5 times the amount of the team at the bottom of the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen about that, but there needs to be some form of rule change when it comes to the whole PSR system. I don't know. I don't fully understand it to discuss the detail of it.
Mm-hmm.
From my understanding of it, I question things like how much Liverpool have spent this year, and I don't quite understand how all of that's allowed to happen. Like you hear so much about it with clubs that are struggling, and 80% of the championship, 70% of the championship, they're all on the line, constantly battling, selling a player to stay afloat of that line. It's like a 3-year moving line, isn't there, that you've got to stay on top of. So like it fluctuates, but you've always got to stay over this line of how much you've lost, essentially, because we're all losing money in this league. That battle is just horrendous. It's a horrendous way of managing football clubs. It's unsustainable. It's going to come. There's going to become to a point where it breaks and it bursts, and I think you're seeing bits of it now with some clubs, and it's becoming more common. But then you look at the top end, like the amount of money that Liverpool spent this summer, and whatever the reasons are for them to be able to be allowed to do that. And I know historically Man City have spent on other occasions a lot of money. It's probably right they're looking at things like what you just mentioned. I don't know what the actual solution is. Luckily, I'm not paid to make those decisions. But I don't know, when you get votes and stuff, like, I don't always trust a vote when it comes to the clubs involved in the Premier League, I think it needs some proper regulation. Don't know who the people that should be doing that are, because you could look at FIFA and there's issues there as well. So I can't tell you what the solution is. I just know the football as a whole, I feel like it's going in a dangerous direction. So
yeah. And I really think the solution just comes down to is some of that money from the Premier League just needs to be shared down the pyramid.
Absolutely.
And so that's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, one of the big issues is, for example, so all these clubs you mentioned that go up and down, I think you only unlock a certain amount of the parachute payment money if you spend more than 1 year in the league, I think. Like you get some, but you get more if you're there for longer than 1 year. So the clubs that come up and then go straight back down, there's money then that's already put aside for parachute payments that maybe they don't get. I think they get it for like less years. So because they only spent 1 season in the league, when they go back down, they only get it for like 1 year or something like that. I might have misquoted it slightly, but it's along those lines.
Yeah.
And then the rest of that money then that isn't used because they didn't earn it, let's say, by being in the league for long enough, it goes back to the Premier League teams. It gets split across the Premier League teams. Whereas, in my opinion, it should filter down. That money, which is already taken out of the pot, Premier League money and prize pot is already there. You're already all getting that. I'm not saying give it all to the Championship. It should go to all of the leagues below.
Exactly.
Even
because that money can go.
Gets $1 million,
that's huge,
especially
for like a League One or League Two team.